James Bond is back in games, and this feels like the right way to bring him back. 007 First Light is a brand new action adventure from IO Interactive, the studio behind Hitman, and it is taking us to the very beginning of Bond's career instead of retelling a story that's already been told. So, while I'd be perfectly happy to play as a Bond with the years of experience behind him, this premise just works. You play as a young but highly capable MI6 recruit entering the 00 program. Not quite the legend we know yet, but definitely not some clueless rookie either. That gives First Light a really fun hook. This is a story about earning the number, earning the license to kill, and becoming 007. And if that wasn't enough, the additional hook is that you're sent after 009, a former British operative who has gone rogue, dragging him into a globe-trotting pursuit that really builds this sense of scale. From Iceland and the Carpathian Mountains to Mauritania's black market stronghold of Aleph and more. What makes 007 First Light especially exciting is who's making it. IO Interactive has spent years building games around stealth, improvisation, disguises, reading a space, and figuring out how to get exactly where you need to be without brute forcing every problem. And when you apply that design philosophy to James Bond, it's just gonna work, dude. Because Bond should not feel like a guy who only shoots his way through rooms. He should feel observant, adaptable, charming when he needs to be, and dangerous when the situation demands it. And the game gives you enough freedom to choose how you'd like to approach a lot of its problems. Of course, no Bond game works without gadgets. 007 First Light gives him a full Q branch toolkit, including the Q lens for spotting intel and hackable devices, the Q watch for gadget interactions, a laser strap, a dart phone, a smoke pod, flash mines, and more. So, whether you want to stay subtle or cause a very controlled amount of chaos, Bond has options. And don't worry, you got guns. Now, this game is not turning Bond into a shoot-first action hero, and that is actually reflected in the gameplay. Firearms come into play when situations escalate to lethal force, but once they do, Bond can lean into precise marksmanship, mix shooting into close quarters combat, and keep the action flowing without losing the slick, cinematic feel. You have dynamic takedowns, throws, parries, environmental attacks, disarms, and gadgets feeding into the whole thing. So, whether a mission stays clean or completely blows up in your face, the game seems built to make both outcomes feel like Bond. That matters because a great Bond game needs that tension between smooth infiltration and absolute, this escalated type chaos. And all of this sits inside a game that seems very committed to the full Bond fantasy. You have MI6, M, who's Bond's boss, Q, the gadget expert, Moneypenny, who's M's secretary, dangerous villains, international intrigue, gadgets, cars, and stylish infiltrations. It is sleek, globe-trotting, and just ridiculous enough where Bond getting thrown out of a plane mid-fight feels completely on brand. That is another reason this works. IO seems to be pairing its systems-driven strengths with the kind of big-screen absurdity you want from Bond. So yeah, 007 First Light has a killer premise, the right studio behind it, and gameplay ideas that actually understand what makes Bond fun. It is a spy thriller, an origin story, and a cinematic action game all at once. And if it lands, this could be the Bond game people have been waiting for. 007 First Light launches on PS5 on May 27, 2026.
When do I start?
PlayStation